Welcome to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. We've got a new guest for you every week, and this week, a very big figure in Camden County. It is Ike Skelton, who is the brand new presiding county commissioner. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
You bet. So what's the difference between a presiding county commissioner and just a regular county commissioner?
So there's 3 commissioners in the county, and the 2 district commissioners have their own little district that they're voted from, and the presiding commissioner is voted on from the entire county.
Oh.
And there are certain things that the presiding commissioner, or only the presiding commissioner, can do, which is sign a lot of the documents and the contracts and things of that nature. So that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. So you're kind of the boss man when it comes to that.
That's what everybody tells me, but I haven't gotten a whole lot, across that way yet. But yeah, that's what everybody tells me.
Oh, that's funny. But so you're a Missouri guy, born and raised, right? Not necessarily here, but where did you grow up?
So I grew up around Herman, Missouri, is where I graduated high school. Really grew up out in the woods in the middle of nowhere around Stony Hill, Missouri, if anybody knows where that is.
Okay.
So yeah, I grew up there, moved into New Haven for a little while, then wound up living with my dad. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 5, but I wound up living with my dad in my high school years and graduated high school out of Herman. So I guess that's my hometown.
Absolutely. Herman, very well known for Stonehill Winery,
sure.
I think.
Herman Hoff and all the wineries.
All that stuff, yeah, nice place to go. So how was your childhood? Was it a tough childhood, a great childhood? What was that like?
Well, I mean, we were very poor, grew up quite poor, had commodities, people have food stamps today. We had the old commodity stuff, but mom had polio when she was young and worked very, very hard on the farm to keep us kids going, and as you can imagine, little hand-me-downs and all that from family, and mom and dad, like I said, weren't divorced. Dad was an heavy equipment operator, and they moved out to the farm there around Stony Hill right after I was born. And so anyhow, wound up moving in with my dad. Long story short, wound up moving my dad into Herman and graduated there. And always wanted to be in the military, and Dad drove me to be a mechanic, so I wound up doing that in the military for a little while. But yeah, it was a decent childhood, Did some things up in Jefferson City at the Nichols Career Center, learned some automotive mechanic and stuff up there. So yeah, I enjoyed being able to grow up in the country. I think of it today, kids growing up in the cities, and I kind of feel a little sorry for them, not growing up out in the woods.
Yeah, there is some special advantages to that. There's no doubt about it. So you're a very mechanical guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you did that in the military, Army, Navy?
I was Army. I was Army active duty for about 8 years.
Okay. Did you travel overseas, or was it mostly here?
I was fortunate enough to go to Germany, and spent 3 years over in Germany. So that was a neat experience.
Yeah. What was that like?
Well, we were there when the wall came down, so that was something spectacular.
Yeah.
Bad story, but I'll tell it real quick. We're driving down the Autobahn on a military mission, and there happened to have been an accident. And this was right after the wall came down. So a lot of these cars were coming over from East Germany, and some of them were made out of wood. It was very, very poor, obviously, right? Yeah. And one of these cars got hit on the Autobahn, and the only way you could tell it was a vehicle is there were four wheels left. Other than that, this one. So anyhow, it was just a great experience to be there, and the wall came down. I used to have a couple of pieces of the original wall, but
really,
moving so many times they've
lost somewhere.
Yeah, it had the graffiti on it and the whole 9 yards.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. And that was what, late 80s, early 90s?
89, 90.
Yeah, okay. Those were some pretty special times over there.
Yeah.
And as you alluded to, you've done a lot of different things, family services.
Yeah.
I think at one point, heavy equipment like your dad. At one point, landscaping, mechanic.
Child support enforcement.
A locksmith. I mean, wow, you've done a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if I still want to know what I want to do when I grow up or not, but yeah, a couple of different hats.
Do you get bored easily? Is that why you change, or why did you do so many different things?
I don't know that I've ever actually contemplated that question myself.
Huh.
Yeah, maybe I do like the challenges of something new, That's an interesting question. I haven't had that posed to me.
And now politics.
And here it is. Yeah, well, I got into politics when I got back from Germany and got into the States and started listening to, see, who's that guy? Rush Limbaugh, I think was his name, right?
Yeah.
And started listening to him, and another guy kind of turned me on to him, and started becoming a little more involved, and then the Tea Party movement came around, and that really gave me a place and a voice. And I started meeting a lot of people and relearning American history.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how poorly kids are taught American history in this country. It's sad.
How poorly they're taught almost everything.
Well,
now.
I have to concur. Yeah, pretty bad. So, so that gave me that voice, and I found that I kind of excelled in some of those areas, and I really enjoy the political side. I wanted to be a lawyer for a long time.
Yeah.
I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I took the LSAT. I just never made it to that final step into going to school. So
wow.
I guess politics is closer you can get to that, right?
Well, yeah, there you go. Was there something that, so, you've been kind of dabbling with politics and involved in it, but not running for an office, I don't think, until recently, and then all of a sudden you jump in on this presiding county commissioner thing, and that was knocked down, drag out.
It was. I had ran against Diane Franklin actually for Missouri House of Representatives up in this area a little bit, and that was when I lived down in Lebanon. They split the county. They split the two counties in half, and that's when it was incorporated. Now it's all back, redistricting. So I dabbled in it a little bit before. I ran for school board down there too, and found out maybe I was a little too conservative for that school board. That's okay. Folks came forward and asked me to do this because I had always been involved. I've done a lot of lobbying up in Jefferson City at the Capitol and trying to, actually what we wound up doing up there was stopping a lot of bad things more than really getting some good stuff to go,
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed doing that, and I'd stayed involved. When I moved up here first and started operating my brother's locksmith shop, it was incredibly busy. It was something different that I wasn't used to, like down in Lebanon. So I had to back out of the politics for a little while until I kind of got my feet on the ground up here. And some friends came to me that I had worked with in the past on various things, even when I lived in Laclede County. And they asked me to run for this position, and here we are. But yeah, it was a campaign. I think people should study that campaign once in a while.
Yeah, it turned out very well. So we're talking with Ike Skelton, the Camden County presiding commissioner. We'll have more with Ike right after this. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center is growing in our community with a new dental location to serve you in Eldon and a new location in Laurie. COMC also makes your children a priority with a mobile dental unit serving schools in rural areas where access can be a challenge. COMC also offers OBGYN, sports medicine, pediatric, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. If you love the lake, you gotta love Lake TV. Welcome back to Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show, brought to you by the great folks at COMC. We're talking with Ike Skelton, the brand new Camden County presiding commissioner. So has it been kind of shocking, overwhelming, underwhelming? What has been the take as you have taken over?
Well, I assure you it hasn't been underwhelming. Right. I guarantee you that. Not overwhelming, but there are an awful lot of moving parts. The biggest thing to me is getting up to speed as to how the county does their business, the vernacular. I mean, it's a totally different world, a government world versus a private world, just learning the acronyms and the functions and how things work. So that's a bit of a curve there. But it is a very busy position. I mean, to properly do it, and like I said, I was a little surprised to find out that there's no real statutory requirements much for this job. It's kind of make it as you want it to be. And I know that some of my friends told me that, oh, don't worry about it, Ike. It's a part-time job. You'll still be able to do your thing, you know, with the locksmith and all this. I was like, okay, so we'll do this. Well, I'll get you one of these days, but no. I think it's going to be a great challenge. I'm already looking forward to all the things coming, you know, that we have ahead. And I'm not really used to the spotlight being on me so much, unless I've given a lot of speeches, but I really knew what I was talking about when I would go give those speeches. So I would be the expert in the room, right?
Right, yeah.
But at the general meetings that we have, not so much that. So that's a little, you know, it's a little interesting sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable as you learn that.
Yeah, because I mean, you're the guy that everybody's looking to come up with the answers or the direction or what have you. So that's a little different and very humbling. I will have to tell you that. It's I'm honored that the people of Camden County have given me this job to do, and I hope I don't let them down.
Yeah.
I really do.
So it is, you're finding it to be a very busy thing. Are you
Yes.
still able to do your business, the lock and key business?
I would not be able to be involved in my business how I could have to be and do this job. I know they say it's a part-time job, but I just don't think it really is a part-time job. Yeah, could I take, maybe one day a week off and not worry about things falling apart? Of course I could. Yeah. We've got 2 other commissioners, so it's not like I'm doing it all myself, but there are certain things that only the presiding commissioner can do, is allowed by law to do. So, and people are looking for that leadership as well, that directives. So I involve myself in my business still, a few hours a week, but just nothing like, I've got a great manager that's running it and another brother that's working with him. So I needed that to get that worry off my mind. It's one thing to have this baby you just give to somebody, like that. And so, but they're doing real good. So.
Well, it's nice that you have the ability to do that.
Yes,
It's good for the county. So there was a lot of talk about nefarious activity before you came in. Do you have the power to look at that and try to fix it if you find anything like that?
Oh, sure. If we dig up some real wrongdoings, we can absolutely deal with that. The rest of it was mostly just how business was or was not conducted, how meetings were or were not ran. A lot of it was more of kind of just an aggravated system instead of anything being necessarily nefarious. I don't know, I haven't seen any actual illegalities that had occurred yet, so hopefully we're not going to have to worry about digging into that. But some procedures and things went a direction that I don't think they need to be going, and we've clawed back some of that responsibility into the commission. Yeah. And I think sometimes, you ask certain people to do too much, and because they want to help out, they do that. And then they wind up getting overloaded sometimes. So we're trying to draw some things back into the commission so that we do those things and make sure it's done under our purview.
Cool. We live in a very divided political society right now in our country. Is Camden County politically divided like the rest of the country is, or is this county still fairly sane?
I think that we are fairly sane. I think that we have a large amount of folks, and I'm not going to use the political labels that we use this day, but I think the people of Camden County believe in freedom, they believe in liberty, they believe in very small government, as little taxes that we can possibly get away with to still do the job that those folks want done. Basically, the old adage, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, and things are going to be good.
Right.
And I really believe that's the way the people of Camden County want to live and want to be treated.
Yeah. We just down to the last few seconds. I wish we had a whole nother show here. But does state government, national government overwhelm county, or do you still have good control?
The state has some purviews that maybe we would rather not have to deal with, but of course we have to. My philosophy with the federal government is a little bit different than most. I really don't, if I don't see it in the Constitution, to the best of my ability, I really don't care what the federal government has to say, to be honest with you. I know that might not be a great way for an elected official to look at it, yet at the same time, I believe that somewhere at some time, those of us here at the local level are going to have to say enough is enough.
Yeah.
You don't have the authority to tell me to do that. I'm not going to do that and let the chips fall where they may.
It kind of seems like we're getting there pretty fast.
We are getting that far. And, I wonder where is that pushback going to come from? We're not seeing it at the state level.
Yeah.
So where is it going to start coming? And maybe it needs to start right here.
Absolutely. That's Ike Skelton. We're going to have him back for a whole nother show.
I'd love to.
Because there's so much to talk about. Presiding County Commissioner Ike Skelton, thank you, sir, for coming by. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.